String bending is one of the most effective techniques we have at Expression on the guitar. Now, this is a very difficult thing to do musically in the beginner phase and also in the intermediate phase as well. It's very easy to kind of learn a quick bend and then just move on and go right to other concepts. But I think it's very important to sort of focus in on this and make it a part of most of your practice sessions. So first, I'm going to show you a musical example of some of these bends that I'd like you to work a little bit more on to make sure that they're up to the level of musicality that you're looking for. So here's what it sounds like. Key of A minor. So there are a few techniques happening here. There's two main bends that I want you to focus on. So we're starting with the first one. We're in the key of A minor, right? So we're using the A minor pentatonic, which most of you are already very familiar with. Right, stopping on that root, 5th fret on the high E string. The first thing we're doing is bending the flattened 7th in the scale. And you can bend that into the pitch of the root, the 10th fret of the B string, right? But you can also do like those little, as you're bending up, it still sounds pretty cool, right? Even if it's slightly out. So that's one area where it doesn't have to be perfect. You can mess around with that microtonal kind of goodness there. And that's a good place to start. So that's the first part, look, right? Now that's the next little thing. It's just a ghost note, quick slide from the blues note, that 8th fret on the G string, going into the 7th fret. And that bend there is the other one that I want to focus on today. So that again is sort of this microtonal. You know, that note doesn't exist on the piano. That would be somewhere between like a white key and a black key, right? So you can do that really effectively by just getting a little bend with that first finger, sort of pulling it down towards the floor, as opposed to your first bend, which makes more sense to come up. And the main focus with this bend is that you want to make sure that you're not going like this, releasing it. You want it to be cut off right when you go to that next note. Of course, in this phrase, we're ending on our root note, the A. Note the 7th fret on the D string is an A, which is an octave of your 5th fret on the low E, right? So again, that's slowed down a little bit. That's a great place to start. You can combine multiple positions. Because remember, if we could bend the 8th fret like that, we could also bend it like with our first finger. There's another place we could do that if we could bend that 5th fret on the G here. Well, an octave below that, 3rd fret on the A string. It's another great place to do it, right? And that's sort of in that lower. And that's a good way to practice it, is just try to make little musical phrases that sit inside of these areas. You have the octave shapes to play around with. Just by doing that, I think it'll open up a lot of possibilities and help you really focus in on musical bends. So I hope you found this quick lesson helpful. You can find all the tabs synced up with my playing on my Patreon, as well as my personal website. So be sure to check those out. It's a great way to support me. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.